All right, you ready to do this, G?
Welcome to the Nightmare 365 podcast, where every day is a nightmare. I got my devil's hat on. Yay!
I'm sponsored by CrossFit. It's the Forging Elite Fitness for athletes under 25.
It's Forging Elite Fitness for all your horror fans out there.
Are you ready to hit publish?
I already did. We're live, son.
Are we?
Yeah, man. We are live.
Oh, yeah, it is right here. Cool. We're not live, though, yet.
Well, technically.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. We'll get it going. Are you excited about this one?
I have a lot of questions. Hopefully you have a lot of answers for me.
How am I going to have answers for you?
Listen, Flat Earth, I would love to know why people think the Earth is flat. What evidence do they have?
I really wish you got what's-his-face on.
No.
Why?
It would have just been a screaming match the whole time.
I think that could have been good radio right there.
Yeah, right. We probably couldn't have got a word in.
Why not? You think he would have screamed that much?
Yes. Obviously, you've never talked to him.
I haven't.
Yep.
You love him, though.
Dad talked to him.
What did he say?
I don't know. Dad made fun of him, I think.
Are you serious?
Yeah. What are you doing over there?
I'm just posting our stuff, so we're ready to go.
Welcome to the Nightmare 365 podcast, where this is the center of weirdness, but no one believes us. I'm your host, Matt, joined by my mother, Greg.
What? Greg. No, we're live. This is just a preview before the show.
What does that even mean?
This is free content people are getting.
This is the backstory of us?
This is the backstory of how we started this podcast and where we're going to go with it.
Where are we going with this?
We're going all over the place.
We're going global.
Let's get it started. We definitely need to change the camera because I don't like that it's all white.
What's all white?
It's like the camera is distorted. So I want to invest in the GoPro, but...
Well, we need people to donate to the Patreon page.
Yeah, get out there and donate, folks. Looking at you. All right. Ready? Let's get this. Let's get it. Let's get it. You can't listen to music because you don't like your headphones.
Just a Forging Elite Fitness athletes under 25.
Why does it have to be under 25?
I don't know. It just felt right.
It felt right.
Are you ready? In 5, 4.
Oh,
I don't need to do that.
I
We're
don't need
already
to clap?
No, we're already recording. Actually, you could because when I go and cut this part out.
No, this is live right now.
Well, on YouTube it's live, but if you actually listen to it just as a podcast, you won't hear this part. All right, you ready?
I've been ready.
Clap it again. Let us know. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Nightmare 365 podcast.
Where every day is a nightmare.
Because nobody believes us, but this is the center of weirdness for the entire planet. What's going on, G?
What's up, man?
Today, we talk about flat Earth.
I'm very excited.
Or it's round. Or, it's a pear shape?
Well, that one guy said it's cylinder shaped.
Whatever it may be, we're talking about it today.
Fucking ridiculous.
You're just over it.
I have a lot of questions.
All right, we'll see if we can answer some today on the podcast about flat Earth. If you're watching, comment. We're looking at it live on YouTube. So if you want to,
leave us a question. We can answer it hopefully.
Yeah, if you're watching. So
let's jump into some weird news, man.
Is it weird news? I don't know if it's really weird news. It is weird news to us because we just dive into all. I wish I found some Bigfoot sightings.
There's no Bigfoot.
What do you mean there's no Bigfoot?
We went over this on our other podcast.
I know. All right. So this weird news is brought to you by nobody. Anyway, so I found this article from Express.
Express, the clothing company?
Yeah. It used to be Structure. Now it's Express.
Dude, that was a good store,
out of the UK.
man.
You love that store.
Dude, I remember you had a jacket. Like, it was a gray jacket, zip-up Structure.
Wasn't it gray, was it?
I thought it was gray.
I thought it was a tan. But let's get to the weird news, bro.
All right, man.
Flat Earth shock. A third of millennials not convinced the Earth is round.
They're morons.
See, my thing is, and It's a cool article because we mentioned him before. Neil deGrasse Tyson debunks flat earthers with one simple fact.
Let's hear it.
You want to hear the simple fact?
Yep.
All right, let's get what Neil has to say, man. So he's sitting here. This might get us kicked off, though.
Thank you.
No, you're good.
No.
And this is Earth. This is Earth. And the moon is over here. The sun is always.
So what he's talking about is an eclipse. So watch it. It's linked up in the show notes under weird news. So he talks about the eclipse and how, all right, explain the eclipse if the Earth is flat.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole premise if you look into it. And obviously he's a smart dude.
Very smart dude.
So this brings me to another question and also to segue into the show.
Segue into the show of Flat Earth.
Flat Earth is here. So I watched tons of videos, man.
I did too.
And some annoyed me just from people's ignorance on both sides.
Well, it feels like they regurgitate the same shit.
They do. And I understand getting back to the article for the weird news, right? A third of people, millennials, younger people, it's a majority of the younger people believe or don't believe that the Earth is flat. And I understand because if you look at just our society in general and the climate of stuff going on, and even me, I don't always buy what the government tells me.
Sure, and you shouldn't.
And it's understandable when you're just taught all this crap in school. You know, how much do I love history? And then when I actually started studying history, going to places, reading books from different types of authors, and you realize, holy shit, half of what we're told in school is either wrong or not the full truth, right? Or not the full story of anything that happens. And then you find out like the government does this, the government does that. You know, there's different programs. So like people talk about NASA, people talk about the CIA, all this kind of crap that goes on. People are out to make money.
Well, yeah, look at any like big government contractor. They're out to make money. And the government wastes so much money, too. Yeah,
and there's so many things like if we talk about just the Earth not being round, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can go step by step. I always try to, you know me, I try to be as open-minded as possible. Sometimes it's harder than others, and sometimes I wouldn't say I was convinced with the flat earth, but I do understand. And like I said,
some of the stuff I get, but some of the stuff is ridiculous.
And like you said, most of the videos that I've seen and stuff that I read, yes, they regurgitate the same thing.
Yeah, probably
over
the
and
same
over
like 5 to 10 facts.
But my thing is,
or they claim to be
this
facts.
has been a debate that's gone on for years, right? And it's one of those things, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to understand this stuff. You know, even when Neil deGrasse Tyson is talking about certain things and, you know, like the curvature of the Earth, the rotation, how many miles an hour, you know, the feet away, just all these things that blow my mind. And like, I have no clue what you're talking about. I lost you. Maybe that's why people believe this stuff because they're like, I don't understand it.
Well, I think it's so
but why is this
outside their grasp of like, you know, their mind that they can't fathom how big the Earth is and how tiny you are on this Earth. And I think that's like a major like holding, like it holds them up to open up their mind to believe that the Earth can be round.
Yeah. One of the things too, where they talk about just like going off of what Neil deGrasse Tyson said in the weird news stuff, you know, where he talks about the solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse, everything, and talk about the moon, right? And we look at Mars, we look at other planets that are close enough that you can look at a telescope with. Why are they always round?
Well, that gets to my couple questions that I have.
So we could start here. Like, why looking at the moon, it's round? Why looking at the sun, it's round?
Yeah.
Why looking at any other planet that we could see with a telescope is round?
Sure. I don't get that. So how do they explain that away?
Most of the videos and stuff that I've seen, I don't know. I would love to talk with somebody.
Well, because they focus on like the wrong things, or like they only focus on what they can like argue with you about. Like if you brought this up to somebody, I would really love to know like what a flat earther is gonna say. Like, all right, you look up at the moon with a telescope and it spins, you can see it's round.
Yeah, there was an interview that I saw and the guy kind of got hooked up
Yeah, because
And
you
he's
have
like,
no
yeah,
explanation.
round Earth. I mean, yeah, it's round. It's round. Mars is round.
So we're the only planet that's flat.
I understand it to an extent, right? Just
And
like with anything.
Here's my question. All right.
All right.
Here's like to kick it off. Like my big question. The guy who did the experiment that set this off,
Samuel Robot.
Robotum.
I don't know if that's how you say it.
Well, man,
right.
if he was like he had his friend sail, like, let's say on a river, and it went like down, like through like a canyon.
Right.
Would you think the Earth is round then? Because
Probably.
his friend dropped off.
Most likely.
That's what I didn't get. Like if he was standing, let's say, on a mountain or in a canyon, and his friend went up or down, whatever.
Right.
Would he think the Earth is round or flat?
Well, that's the thing. And
that's like
I watched the video too, where this guy had a high-powered telescope, and he was watching. I guess this person debunked flat Earth and said, "All right, once the ship crosses the horizon, you're not going to see it." And
Sure.
this flat Earth believer sat on a beach and watched, with the high-powered telescope and watched it. And he's like, "See, you could still see it. You could still see it."
Yeah.
And it's like, see, one of the things I wanted to dive into is the science of like how our eyes see things, right?
yeah.
Because we see colors in different
Sure.
perspectives,
Yeah.
just from people in general, right? You may see a color one way, a shade. I may see a color differently, and same thing with our eyes. There's sometimes when I'm squinting to see something in the distance, and I'm like, I couldn't tell you how far away it is.
So like, have you ever been in an MRI machine?
No.
Okay. You go in an MRI machine, it's pretty claustrophobic in there, right? Because it's like just a tube.
Yeah.
And the ceiling is white. Like there's no, like you almost like, you ever hear about these float tanks that people use like to meditate almost?
Yeah.
It's almost like that. You go in there and you're staring at like white. So there's like no other things around
Like
that you
perception,
could
right?
focus
Depth
on.
perception, stuff like that.
Dude, and like it looks weird and it looks flat, but it's rounded.
That's a good. I never thought about it.
So-
I never thought that.
So like when you go to the like most flat earthers, okay. Oh, go down to the beach and look at the horizon. It's flat. Hey, idiot. You are so small compared to the Earth, the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, it's like you can't see like the minuteness of how it dips down. Like I'm sorry, you're not going to see that.
No, and like you said, and people always talk about how big the Earth really is,
And
we're
people don't
just-
really realize that.
I don't think just knowing. When you're growing up, everything seems a lot bigger, right?
Yeah.
And the further the older you get. Did I say that right? The older you get,
Yeah.
things look small. Like if we went back to our childhood home,
Yeah, everything would look really, really
and it'd be
tiny.
like, holy crap! I thought it was so much bigger than this.
Yeah, I remember.
Maybe as we age, there's certain perceptions that we don't really realize that are happening through us, that we see this.
Okay.
And just to say, like, we're looking at the horizon, it's like, I never thought about it, but now I'm looking at it, and now it really looks flat.
I mean, it
You know.
essentially does, because you can't. You're so small on it.
Yeah.
You're such like a speck. Like, if you take like a what's like the biggest round thing you can think of?
I don't know.
Let's say like a
Well, all right. Take a big tire for example, right? And you're looking at you're at the tire, and the closer you get, it kind of does level off. If you're looking at it, it looks flat, right at the top.
kind of, yeah.
If you're looking at a tire, oh, it looks flat. I could put stuff on it. Maybe that's it's
But,
a
like, if you-
terrible experience. Like I said, I'm not the scientist. I don't
Think
know
of like
anything
the
about
biggest
this.
round shape you can
That
think
was
of.
probably really bad, wasn't it?
Kind of. But like think of like the biggest round shape you can think of, like Epcot Center, right? How
Yeah.
big that ball is, right? Almost. And you put a grain of sand on top of that. That's probably how
We are
we are
into the world. Yeah, I
into
mean,
the world.
people have done this, and one of the things, when you get back to the Bedford level experiment thing, because this is really what kicked it off, and a lot of people use this as an example. But this is a flat piece of land, like the old Bedford, River. We're looking at it.
Yep.
and it's flat. It seems like it goes on forever.
Sure.
Maybe if he did this experiment in the ocean, it would be a different,
Maybe. But like
total theory.
Here's the thing, like the ocean is so vast, right? And even the guy with the telescope looks out, right?
Yeah.
Of course you're going to still be able to see it up until the range of that telescope.
Right.
Like how far can like the most powerful telescopes see in the world? They can see billions and billions of miles away, right?
They could, yeah.
So essentially you could probably see the ship until obviously it drops off,
Yeah, this is one of the things too. When I pulled this article is pretty cool because it says 10 easy ways you can tell for yourself that the Earth is not flat.
Sure.
Like we talked about the moon, right? And then same thing we're talking about right now. The second one is ships and the horizon. And they give an example of like an ant on an orange.
Yeah.
You're an ant walking on an orange. What do you see? It's the same thing like what you're just saying. And it goes into detail on it. There's just so much, with our field of view, our range, right?
Sure.
You know how they say, like, we see stuff out of the corner of our eyes. That's why people sometimes, think they saw a ghost, but
Sure,
it's really
yeah.
not. Like, we're seeing in this with blinders on, essentially.
Essentially, yeah.
And even because they go into that, too, with the stars, the constellations of just our field of view and, like, where we're positioned
Well,
in
yeah,
the Earth.
that's like another question I have. Okay, if the Earth is flat, right?
Right.
Are we spinning? Is everyone else spinning around us? And then, how come we can see certain things at one time and not the other?
Well, it's like night and day. Like, where does it go? Does it go underneath us?
That's another question I have. So maybe you can answer this for me. Because you're almost a believer.
I'm almost a believer.
You're on the fence about believing in this.
No, I understand their perspective and I understand why. Like I understand questioning everything, right? Because that's always been my nature.
No, yeah, I quite like
like when the government. All right, even if we go back to our episode 11 where we talked about the NASA faking the moon landing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if they could do that, what else could they do?
Yeah,
but see, there was an agenda there. I think because there was money making, they're building this, program.
Yeah, and they wanted to
head into space. Maybe it was for something else.
Okay,
but
what do you think? Transformers are on the moon?
Could be. Maybe they knew something was up there, or they're trying to use it for another program. Well, anything. You know what I'm saying? But here, this is thinking about NASA, right? Because they always say, "Well, NASA is bullshit." It's a program that's protecting this, and like they've been fooling us for how long? Like, I understand the government wastes money, and there's different programs like this, like NASA, that waste tons of our taxpayers' money.
Sure,
but at the same time, like you have to have everybody on board. It's not just NASA. You're talking about how many other
governments in the world,
not even governments, but just space programs, like. Look at Elon Musk, right? Because he laughed about this. He tweeted about it too. And that's a private program.
Yep.
Like if I think there'd be more money in it if he debunked, like, holy shit, the Earth is not round.
Well, all right.
It's more, right, profitable and beneficial for anybody to do that.
Here comes my other question then about flat Earth.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, they believe in the ice wall that keeps the water in.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's possible.
Okay. Yep. Possible. Right?
Right.
Cool. What's outside the ice wall? Does it just fall off into space?
Well, most people say there's a hidden land, like the garden.
Hidden land.
Well, whatever. At the center or somewhere, there's the Garden of Eden, essentially.
So do they essentially believe the Earth goes on forever then?
You would have to talk to somebody that really believes in this stuff. And there's a lot of things.
Because there's a lot of things that they can't answer.
No, and there's a lot of things true that we can't answer, right?
Correct.
Around
yes.
the Earth.
Yes, you can't, because maybe it's outside the grasp of our even knowledge.
Yeah,
you got to get somebody on that's smarter than us.
Well, here's another thing. We don't have the ghost in studio. He was gonna be here for this one because this is a topic that he's really into.
Yeah,
he's been sick. So, but we were talking, and I think we were talking about last time. About the people that work at like these stores, like Lowe's, not to put anything down. I love Lowe's.
But Home Depot,
you
Waffle
never see like
House.
a Neil deGrasse Tyson come out and say something like this. Or you never see like smart people
Yeah.
Like with PhDs,
Really,
all this
really
stuff.
educated people.
Really, really educated people coming out and say, yeah, man, the earth is flat.
But like I would see then like another thing too is like the people that I know that believe in flat earth, like it really amped up when you question them.
Yeah, because it's picking a side. You know, I'm picking a side no matter if I'm round earth.
But I would just like
I don't
to know,
care. Like, I
yeah.
think it's funny. And I think it's one of these things, you believe the earth is flat? I don't care.
Well, and then I asked one of the believers.
Uh-huh.
I was like, all right, I'll play your game, man. Like, what's underneath? If the earth is flat,
What's on the other side?
what's on the other side? Their answer is we haven't drilled that far yet.
Well, it's true. How far? I think we answered it on like one of our. I don't know. Were we talking about it? How far did we actually drill down?
No.
I'll type that up because I do remember looking that up one time, and it's pretty crazy. I didn't know it was that far.
Yeah, I think it was in Russia, right? They drew.
It was crazy how many miles they drilled down, but it's true. Like, think about that, right? If we haven't drilled through the earth,
why would you?
There's no reason to, I guess.
Because it's molten. If you believe, it's molten lava in the middle.
Who knows? But here's another thing. Like, we could be living in the Matrix. It may not even be flat. This may not even be round. It may be nothing.
See, that blows people's minds right there.
But it blows my mind just thinking about that. Imagine this is just some simulation. It's just a game. We're not even in like a 4D, realm. It's really just a 2D.
Like a Truman world almost?
Yeah. And I understand that. And this is where I guess a lot of young people question it.
All right. So let me ask you this question. Because like I said this to Kim.
Mm-hmm.
I said if we won the Powerball, it was like $1 billion.
No. Yeah, all right. I know you're going with this.
Okay. And I put you in. I was like, NASA, we're going up.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I put, the flat earthers, in a rocket, boosted them up to space.
And they actually saw it.
And they actually saw it round. What do you think they would do?
If they don't change their mind.
That's fake. That's fake.
If they don't change their mind, then I don't know. Because seeing is believing with anything, right?
Correct.
And we always talk about how the only difference between a skeptic and a believer is a personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell you for days that the earth is round. But again, like we said, you're taking my word for it. You're taking people that are smarter than you, their word over yours or your own experience.
Sure.
And when you do watch some of these videos, some people are very convincing with their flat earth stuff.
So you could be convincing about anything, though.
If
you're a good salesman, you can be convincing
of course,
about anything.
And I always tell people if you believe the narrative of the story.
Correct.
With like ghosts
if you believe in that
Bigfoot,
person,
anything.
then you're going to believe what they say.
Yeah.
I get that.
All right. Here's another thing that the article brings up, 10 ways to debunk. Ride a plane, right? And you've taken more plane rides than anybody I know.
Yep.
And just explain some of that stuff. Like, because we watched the video, and I'll link this one up because I think
like
this
here's
one's
what
cool.
most people don't understand too when they fly. Like most people are like, oh, isn't it faster going a straight line to some places?
Right.
Okay. And it took me a while to like comprehend this until I actually saw like one of like the pilot's maps.
Uh-huh.
And that's another thing that flat earthers point out is like the maps are all wrong. Look at the UN
and
the
all
UN,
the government stuff. I understand.
The government stuff. Sure,
it makes sense.
So the pilot's map, if you think about like a circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's big, and then like the lines would come together at the top, so it would be smaller because the surface area of the Earth is smaller up there, right? So they go up and over, almost like the half moon, because they're traveling less distance around the Earth. Like if you think about like a fat like around the middle and then like skinny up top.
Yeah, I get it.
So if you go further up top, basically like when we fly to India, right, we go over the North Pole and drop straight down. Like it literally, you go straight up and straight down.
Yeah, I never thought about it.
Because you're going a short distance.
Right. Yeah, and the same thing, like they point out, wouldn't it be faster to fly west if the Earth is spinning, the rotation? Because the Earth is spinning to the east at least 733 miles per hour.
Sure.
And there's a cool article, too. I'll link this one as well. Mm-hmm. Just about talking and debunking the Earth is spinning east. Why don't we, fly west? Like,
here's
that's
another thing.
Okay,
here's another thing that I said to a flat earther. Okay, and they I'll tell you their answer after what I said. I said, okay, I've been to India going to the east, right? I've been to India going to the west. So essentially, I ran around the globe in a circle. How could I do that? Their answer was, well, they faked it. Like, they basically, like, flew you one way and turned the plane when you weren't.
See, that's where they lose me, and that's where all this stuff does, because so many people have to be in on this joke
Yeah.
to say...
So you're telling me, like, a pilot on his own has never flown past the ice shelf? And their thing is, oh, the government will stop him. Well, what government?
Well, that's man. There was such a great quote that I found, or not that I saw on a YouTube video.
Yeah.
And I was pissed I couldn't find it, or even I don't remember what video it was because I watched so many.
Sure.
But he had a great point, and just like what you said, there's so many government and space agencies out there.
You think something would have leaked by now?
Right.
Something.
Like, there's so many people that this is what like, if I had to say, do I believe in the flat earth, I would say no, just because of the simple fact, like, if you're basing on everything is a conspiracy, which I love conspiracies.
Sure, I do too.
If you believe that, there's so many people in on this.
There
It's not like killing JFK, where
Where
the
they
CIA
can kill off everybody.
Where the CIA it's a small group, right? It's not like the world.
Sure.
The CIA is one component out of 3 billion people. And you look at that and say, all right, yes, somebody would have to leak something.
Yeah.
Somebody would be like, holy shit. Like, you know how famous and rich and
Oh, yeah.
you would be like
Plus,
the person of the year.
Well, here's another thing, too, which I thought about while researching all this, is, you know how, like, land is almost getting scarce in, like, the planet? They say, like, climate change. Wouldn't you want to go to, like, to the other side of the ice shelf if there's, like, a Garden of Eden out there?
Land is a commodity, right?
Yeah,
you can make
so much money.
Real estate. Look at how many, real estate agents, how much money they make sometimes, right? And people that own land, how much they charge to live on, in my property, live in my building, Yeah, the government takes that money, right? Taxes, property taxes. That's another thing too. Like, why wouldn't they? Oh, because they just want to hide out, or like a weekend retreat.
Yeah,
there?
I don't get that.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, how do you explain about time zones too? Stuff like that. Like,
Yeah. If the Earth is flat, wouldn't it sunrise on the whole thing?
pretty much, unless we're circling around it, and that's how they say it. But that's another thing. Time zones. At light, visibility. Just what about gravity?
Yep.
Gravity's a big thing, which a lot of the videos that I saw,
Don't mention it.
well, they mention it, but they're like, well, they kind of poo-poo it and say like it means nothing. Even some people like,
Well, because Joe Rogan had like a good picture. If it was like if flat Earth was real, the gravity would pull all the water, to like a certain spot in the world.
it could, pull them in the middle.
Yeah, right. Because if they believe in gravity, if flat earthers believe in gravity,
Well, they say they base it on the mass, right? So there's a mass, like, all right, you weigh X amount of pounds. I
Sure.
weigh X amount of pounds. So that is gravity, right? The mass is just going to be, dissipate into whatever it is. There's nothing really that's pulling us, down.
Okay.
Essentially, it's just your weight is your weight, and that's why some things drop faster or slower. And there was never really a good concrete answer. And again,
there's not.
I don't
'Cause
understand all this shit. And
Yeah, I
even,
don't. I don't understand all this shit either. But like some of this stuff, like they don't have a rebuttal for, so they just move on to a different topic.
Well, that's the thing. Just picking your side, right? Picking where I'm on team flat.
Listen,
you're
I'm
on team
I'm
round.
open to anything. Okay, I
I
really
think
am.
it'd be awesome if the world was flat, because then it would change so much shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. What about like the images of Earth? They say it's
Well,
doctored.
yeah. Well, here's one thing that I read from NASA, or like about NASA, like the photographs.
I've heard that stuff too.
So they can't take the picture like of the full Earth. So they take like almost like think of 8x11s, and they piece the 8x11s together to get the whole picture.
Yeah, and that's where people come in and say, a lot of it's just Photoshop, touched up. A lot of this stuff is,
Well,
How-
yeah, and
how
they
many
even
peop-
said it.
Yeah, how many people actually put filters on? Like their photos nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
To make it look better, crisper, and they're taking sometimes photos from the moon, if we want to believe that.
Sure.
From the moon landings, from pictures there, and they say like they look CGI sometimes. even like I questioned when Elon Musk sent the rocket up with the spaceman in the car.
Yeah.
That really did look CGI.
It did.
And
But like,
I was-
of course,
I was
it's
like,
gonna look
"Holy
CGI
shit,
because that's so foreign
fake."
to you.
It is, and it's something that we don't know. But I just couldn't
Well,
imagine them.
So we
faking
talked
much
about this
shit.
on like the teaser, the Red Bull guy when he jumped.
Oh yeah, we did.
Okay,
We didn't pull it up.
and like I watched that live that day,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much. Like I skipped it when he was going up, because then like he went through like a billion checks when he was up there,
Right.
and then he stepped out, and you could see the curvature of the Earth,
You could.
and then you saw him jump, and you saw him come down. So how can you really fake that? And he was a private guy,
I don't know. There's no explanation for some of this stuff, and you look at it and you say,
like even skydiving, right? Like people skydive, you could see the curvature
"Well, how much
of
would
the
it,
Earth up there.
How much would it cost to get one of those balloons that we could attach a camera to it and just send it up?"
The guy,
I would love to do that.
Expedition Unknown, Josh Gates did that,
Why don't we do that?
and they had it done, and you could see it go up, and they tracked it, and then
Yeah.
it came back down.
I mean, even if we just sent a balloon up, right? We bought. I'm sure it's a lot of money,
I'm sure it is.
and to get a camera to do that and just go all the way up and just see it, and that this would be something for ourselves.
Yeah, but then people would be like, "Oh, you work for the government. You're fake.
I know.
You faked it."
Well, it's gonna again. If you're not there, if you're not seeing it, if you're not a part of that, I could see why.
And then like here's like a couple of things that like I could see where people think the Earth is flat. When you build a house, right? You level everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you level it off a foundation. So like if the Earth was curved, how can you level like big buildings and other stuff like that, big structures? I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Well, the same thing, right? You take a ball. You could put something on top of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
The smaller you get it, it's gonna stay there.
Yeah,
The bigger it is, it's not.
sure.
It's with anything like we talked about, like the grain of salt or the ant on the orange.
Mm-hmm.
It will find level.
Sure.
They even talk about how water, right?
Mhm.
They're like, how does water level out if it's round?
Yeah.
It's gonna find that level in a surface that it's in.
Yeah. Well, what do you think tides? Like, do they explain tides? I didn't see that. I didn't see
never
that.
seen that with flat Earth, so I don't know. I don't know what like gravity and the moon and all that. They don't get that far into it.
Yeah.
Another thing was they talk about how they see floating. Like one of the big things that people think is fake is like everything in space, right? So if you're watching the astronauts in space floating around, they'll say like, "Oh, you see the bubbles?" Like they're swimming and it's fake. It's CGI. It's a green screen behind them. And
Yeah.
yes, sometimes I do think that.
Sure.
With a lot of the stuff that we talked about with the moon landing, but even this, coffee balls. Where the astronaut is pushing coffee out of a straw and it's making these balls because it's in like zero gravity.
Sure.
So you could see stuff like this where moisture builds up and it's bubbles.
Maybe.
And you think like they're underwater just trying to fake us in a pool, which some of it does.
Yeah,
And
some of it does look like a pool, and like we explained that on our faking the moon landing, like how they look like they're jumping on a trampoline or like
it does. And that's where they get me, right?
Some of that stuff, yeah.
That's where it gets me and says, you know what? I understand. They fake this shit. They fake that shit. They lie to us about this.
But yeah, they lie to us.
cover us.
They lie to us about a lot of things, but there's certain things that they can't lie about.
Yeah, this doesn't make sense. Just because there's too many people, right?
That and like you look at other planets and they're round. So how can you explain that we're flat and they're round? And why would that benefit anybody? If it was flat, who cares?
I agree.
Like if it was flat, like just say it's flat.
That's my point. You follow the money, you follow anything. There's no rhyme or reason to this.
Mm-hmm.
And it just loses its weight in gold when they start talking about some of these things.
Well, like, can you go through like the top 5? What do you think the top 5 things are that why people believe the Earth is flat?
One of the big things, government lies.
Okay, that's number 1.
Right.
What else do they have?
I just
Like they think like, okay, all the pictures, everything is fake. Cool.
Well,
let's say it is.
Well, when they that they not doctor it,
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's a bad term because we said it on our teaser video, or touch it up. But yeah, they do. They have to in a certain situation, right?
Yeah, because
You're
it's not
getting
going to look.
certain photos, and yes, you're trying to take something. You're not getting out as far as you can. You're getting a few thousand miles away from it, and you're seeing it up close. So
Sure.
it's going to be difficult.
Well, it's like it's like those like brain teasers, right? Where they take a picture so close to an object and you try to guess what that object is.
Yeah, and you have no clue.
That's exactly what they do with the Earth, but they take it in like such snapshots and they piece it all together.
Yeah, that's a big thing. So what else do we have with it? Like what else?
The ice wall is a big thing, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
to
but
me.
anybody, you can. Here's my
Sail a
thing.
boat.
All
Go
right.
rent a boat, and we'll go to
Here's
the
one
fucking
thing,
ice
right?
wall.
Here's one thing. We know a gentleman who has a channel that's successful, a YouTube channel about flat Earth,
Sure, yeah.
right? Has he ventured out?
He says he has.
But he hasn't ventured out really much. Most of these, this is my point in like getting back to him, and not to like rip on the kid, but just to say like he's like us, right? There's only so much we could do.
Correct.
With research, and we're getting our information. Majority of the times, we're not going out for weeks and like interviewing people, studying it, like sitting in a boat and going across the Earth.
Sure.
And trying to figure it out for ourselves. We're not doing that. Most of the stuff
I've
we
traveled
see,
the Earth, though. I know what it looks
know
like
you
from like up high.
I've been around the world. I've been to Australia. Did they fake that? That's a whole day in a plane.
Yep.
Like, did they just film like reels of water just going past the plane?
Yeah. See, that's another thing I don't get. Like what? And you would feel it turn.
It was a day on a plane
Yep.
just to get to a point. Like
I know.
A day.
I know. I spent 16 hours going to India.
It's crazy, but at the same time, yeah, most of these people are just sitting in their computers making videos about flat Earth,
And then, like,
they're not really doing the research themselves.
The one video I saw was like about the maps. Their whole thing is maps.
Yeah, but how do we, as a civilization, as a society, put something that is so massive?
Yeah, I know. I
and
get that.
So round, if it is, onto a flat two-dimensional piece of paper.
This is my always argument. Like, yes, of course it's going to look distorted. Like when I was growing up, I always thought Antarctica was the biggest, continent because it was huge on the bottom of the map. But like they couldn't show you how like small, like a cap it was on the bottom, So like of course the maps are going to be distorted.
Yeah, there's so much. I mean, even the majority of things is like, yes, it seems like the government lies, so this is just one big lie and they're covering it up.
But like it's ridiculous. It really is.
Yeah.
Like, oh, go to the beach and look at the horizon.
Yeah.
Like that's like the biggest one that gets me. Like you're so small, you're not going to see the curvature.
Yeah, just look around. Well, they even did studies too with, if you're on a certain plane, yes, you could see, miles away like a city.
Sure.
But you're part of it's cut off, right?
Yeah,
Because
like there was a good like video about that. I think it was like Dubai or like at the AUE, I think it was maybe. That
type in flat Earth. There's so many videos.
it was like basically like 30 floors of the building were cut off because
Yeah.
you couldn't see because your perspective of how far away you were.
Yeah, and you have to think about the world or the Earth itself. Just going outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going to your house. How many like divots, holes,
Sure,
and,
yeah.
and hills and turns that you make just to get to the place from the studio?
Yeah.
It's not like it's. See, that's another thing that doesn't make sense to me. If like the world is flat and we're just flat,
Sure.
like, things are just. I understand like things are bigger, mountains are bigger than us,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like look at the different variations in our own Earth. Do you think that it just sits on like a piece of paper?
Yeah, see, that's another thing I don't get. Like, I really just want to know, like, what's underneath there. And, like, don't you think, like, the NASA people would have went underneath there? And if it was so, like, egregious, like, wouldn't you think, like, somebody would come out and say something?
Maybe somebody will one day and be like, haha, we got you, and like now I'm going to make money off of this.
There's no way. Because it doesn't benefit anybody.
No, it doesn't.
Like, I could see if it, like, are lying about the moon landing. Cool, I'm in for that because it benefited us.
Right.
Because then we won the space race, so that so the Russians wouldn't get to space and have like superiority.
Yeah, it makes
against
NASA
us.
Look huge, right?
Yep,
it makes
it-
NASA like,
yeah.
holy shit, now keep funding them.
Yeah, it makes us look like the superpower. Cool, I get that. They fake attacks against like why we went to the Vietnam War. you know,
Yeah, certain
they
things
fake
make
that
sense, but
because it makes sense because it will benefit us or
Right.
benefit them.
right.
But
and,
this doesn't benefit anybody.
but this, you're talking about a global scale, right?
Correct.
You're talking about like just communicate with people from other parts of the world and say like, all right, is the Earth flat? You know, is your government hiding shit? And I think that's like when you ask like, what's the number one reason? I think the government and just people lie in general. So it makes
The
sense.
government lies about everything all the time. And you know, it.
What?
Okay, it may not, you know, you may not know why they do it to you.
Yeah.
Or, you know, they may do it because it benefits them. But
Yeah, this is just, it's too big of a scale for them to lie and keep it secret. And anybody could jump in a boat and just go.
well, their argument is you get close to it, they'll kill you.
All right, so try. Film it. Right? Film it.
Like live on Facebook.
Something.
See, that would be hysterical.
Well, it goes back to anything with all the stuff we believe. Like, you know, when they say, how come we haven't caught Bigfoot on camera? There's so many cameras nowadays. But how many people are actually in the woods, like filming every second of their days? You know?
True.
You're not going, like we said, you're not going out and exploring, you know, with your boat for like weeks or months or years, or getting in a plane and flying it by yourself and trying to find these ice walls. And
Well, look at like Amelia Earhart. You know, she wanted to fly around the globe.
I mean, she disappeared. They got her.
Yeah.
They said, you got too close. Fuck you. Pap, pap.
Yeah, but she almost, like, if you look on, like, obviously.
Well, look at all the explorers back in the day.
Yeah. The trade that they went around.
Like, why wouldn't they just say, yeah, the Earth is flat. We found it.
Well, yeah, I see. That's another thing I don't get. Well, they could, because they called, like, American Indians because they thought they were in India.
Yeah.
You know, and then it turns out, obviously, they weren't.
Yeah, they had to go farther and farther. And, you know,
and then
until
they finally got there.
I don't know. It's
So like, then
this is a topic that can just go around and
well, yeah.
circles
Then
and
here's
circles.
another question that popped up too. So, when did this whole flat Earth thing start? You know,
can't-
because like if those, you know, ancient explorers and those traders went around the globe back then,
right.
okay, did it start all the way back then? Like, oh, we made it. Yeah, we made it.
Well, there was a lot of people back then, right? Like the Greeks and this stuff started talking about, you know, round Earth and stuff. Like you see that in the 17th century, right? Or well before that. But there's just, yeah, it doesn't benefit.
No,
Like
it doesn't
Like,
benefit
why
anybody.
wouldn't you just say, like, oh, the Earth is flat? Like, people did believe that, and people did believe it was round.
Well, yeah, people.
And there's always going to be that debate throughout civilization.
Yeah, because they thought you know, if they rowed their boat past the horizon, they would fall off the Earth. Which back then, like, okay, like you believed in like gods and goddesses and everything like that. You had to pray to the rain gods. You had to pray to this god and that god. So, like, okay, they didn't have like the mindset back then, but we do. We have the technology.
Yeah, that's the one thing that doesn't get me. Too many people would have to be on board for this. Like, it's too big of a conspiracy to hide from everybody.
Correct.
And, you know, they talk about people like working in Area 51 leaking information, you know, working for the government leaking papers. Like, eventually someone's going to leak stuff, and we never heard about that.
Yeah.
You never hear about somebody leaking papers from NASA or anywhere else. Oh, because they're going to kill you right away? But then how does everything else get out?
Correct.
You know, how does little green men were running around in Roswell, New Mexico, or Area 51, or
Yep.
the government did this, and we know about it. Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot, if you look at it, there's a lot of stuff that we know about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just for the simple fact that we know about it because people leak it. So why wouldn't somebody leak this shit? Because it would benefit them. They could write a huge book,
Hell yeah, it
go
would
on
benefit them.
interviews, and make a lot of money off of this.
Yeah. And then you could monetize like that new land.
You could.
Unless you just believe the ice wall goes on forever.
And we never ventured out over it, just like we never ventured, you know, more than a certain amount of miles deep within the Earth to
Yep.
our core.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a topic that can go on and on forever. And
I would just love to hear some of the flat Earth people's comments. Now I will respond to them.
all right, comment in our YouTube video.
I
I mean, we had some, you know, for the teaser, we had a bunch of comments.
yeah, we did. We had like the guy who said look up cylinder Earth.
Yeah.
Did you look up that?
Oh no, I didn't.
Look up that. That's
Alright.
that was kind of funny.
Oh, you looked it up?
Yeah.
I mean, was it, you know, decent read?
Like,
No.
Because then, like, you could, not really.
Why not? I totally forgot to look it up, and I'll be honest. I feel bad now because he did link this. The Earth is a cylinder.
Yep.
I don't know. This is too much.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of stuff on there. There's a whole Reddit section. Cylinder Earth. I spell it right? Yeah. How many of you? Shit, 19 million?
Yeah, man. It's
Holy,
nuts, right?
So this is a big thing too. Like, not just with the Flat Earth Society. Let's just go to Flat Earth Wikipedia.
You love Wikipedia.
Because this is a general starting point.
Yeah.
And you could branch off of here, because then I had a great professor in my racism and sexism class. He's like, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. And that's what we like to do. I like to do that, and I think anybody should do it.
Sure.
And if you come to a conclusion that the Earth is flat, so be it.
Well, yeah, I think with anything, and I hope like people know that, like, do your own research. Don't take our word for it. Do your own research. Come up with your own views and opinions. And here's another thing: don't listen to just one person.
Oh, you can't.
Or one thing and totally buy into them. Like, listen to multiple things.
Well, that's why I like doing this, because I think we both, as much as we may disagree with a certain topic, I watch so many flat earther people talk about flat Earth.
You got sucked in.
No. I didn't get sucked in.
You got sucked in, because I think there was a point in the week the 2 weeks leading up to this. You're like, well, I mean, I could see maybe it's flat.
Like I said, I see where some of their points made. Like the government does lie. I get it. They could be lying about this shit. I could understand, yes, if you believe certain narrative pieces within the flat Earth, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because to my tiny brain, I can't comprehend, like, keep looking at the horizon and, it's flat to me. Oh, shit, they could be right.
Well, yeah, it is fucking flat to you because you're so small.
I know. I mean, this page is long, too, and I've read a bunch on this, but it just goes on and on. I don't know, man. I mean, the myth of flat Earth.
I really don't know where half these people come up with this shit, though. And, like, I would, like, I said, dude, if I won the Powerball, I'm getting all you flat earthers together, and we're going up.
Well, I also think now we live in as much as we think times are really bad, I think it's such a relaxed time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we could just sit here like we did for, an hour?
Yeah.
And just sit here and talk and research and look up different...
Plus, there's so many platforms for people to actually, like, say dumb shit and get their crap out there.
Yeah.
Like,
hey,
let's do a... type in podcast Flat Earth. I didn't do this. I would love to know how many Flat Earth podcasts.
What, like just Flat Earth podcasts in general?
Yeah, Flat Earth podcasts. And I want to see how many people are probably like devote their lives to this.
It looks like
a weekly audio program related to. We should call them up and get them on here.
Where is the curvature? ?
Wow.
The Flat Earth podcast. Curious Jay and Dearth. So they have a big following. 295 people follow them on SoundCloud. Shit, I didn't think to do this.
I just thought of it. I really didn't think to do it either.
All right, here, the Flat Earth podcast.
It's like people devote their lives to this. Like, that's crazy to me.
So yeah, there's a flatearthpodcast.com. Great. What is this? The best Flat Earth podcast?
It's fucking awesome. Fucking Jesus Christ. So you got Flat Earth Conspiracy, Flat Earth Podcast, Research Flat Earth ETC, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole of Flat Earth, Is the Earth Really Flat? Earth is Flat Podcast, Flat Earth and Trends, Falling Angels TV.
Do you think we're on here?
Jesus.
4th and 10 talked about it.
Christ.
Podcast in Space. Yeah,
we're questioning everything.
The Infinite Plane Society.
Breaking the Ice.
Yeah, so does that answer your question? There's a lot of podcasts on Flat Earth. What is this? The Flat Earth Podcast YouTube. Their YouTube
another
page.
thing. This should be fucking great.
No, this is the same thing that we saw.
How many videos do they have?
Well, they have 1,000 subscribers. Let's see.
Holy God.
Yeah, they got a big playlist. Let's see.
Conversation with a Glober.
That's what they call us.
Wow.
All right, so it has no This would be interesting to listen to. They're long though. They're like 2 hours long.
The Earth is flat. The Earth is flat. The Earth is flat. The Earth is. They're gonna do that for 2 hours.
Do you think? All right. Would you ever want to revisit this topic again?
Yes, I would like to get these guys on.
All right. I'll reach out to them. I'll put them in my bookmark.
And
All right. Here. This is cool. Would you buy a T-shirt from them?
no, I wouldn't.
Why not?
The Flat Earth Podcast. I would beg
Subscribe
you-
to the Flat Earth Podcast. Whatever.
If you're new to the Flat Earth or experience research, we have content for you. All videos are free to mirror on your YouTube channel as long as you link back to our website or don't. The Earth is flat. Tell somebody.
All right. So we're talking about them.
Holy God.
All right. They have a decent following. They subscribe. They have over 1,000 subscribers. I'll reach out to them. I don't know if, or them, whoever they are.
Globe Busters.
Oh shit! That's
You
another
gotta
one?
be shitting me.
Would you rather have these people on? I don't want to play this. I don't want to get us kicked off.
That's a cool logo, though. I'll tell you that much.
That is pretty cool. It's just the Ghostbusters symbol with the Earth in there. This looks like they're
Who
their
you gonna
pilot.
call? The Globers?
Yeah, it
This
looks like
should be
that.
good.
We'll have to watch this. Globusters.
How do they not get like copyright infringement?
I don't know, because all they really did was put a
Ghost?
a globe around the Ghost and Ghostbusters. Let's see.
Wow.
They have a big following.
Wow. How many videos do they have?
All right, hold on. Welcome to Glowbusters, where we discuss the alternative thoughts about the variety of subjects from where we live to how it all works. Join Bob, John. They got a bunch of people, so we can reach out to them too. They have tons of videos as well.
Holy God.
I didn't after doing some of this research and watching the videos,
Yeah.
I didn't realize how big.
This movement is. Or do you think people subscribe to this kind of thing because they think it's fucking hysterical?
I'm sure people, watch some of these videos because they think it's funny.
Can you
And-
just click on one of the videos and see one of the comments? Because I would like to see what like people say.
All right, Flat Earth. It's in plain sight right here.
So you don't even have to play the video.
All right.
Just go to the comments because
Oh, my bad. I hit on see more. All right. The convex Earth video makers not appearing as they originally promised at everything. Great show. Loved hearing from Chris too. Keep it up, guys.
yeah.
Quality content. So NASA can take the $1,000, turn it around. Yeah, there's some people questioning it, some people not. First time listener, and man, it's good to hear from somebody that's really educated about flat Earth topic. We'll be back.
I love it.
Just start talking.
So we need to reach out to these people because I got a couple questions for them, and if they can answer my questions without like
All right.
going off on tangents.
All right. So do you want should I reach out to the Glowbusters?
Yes.
And get them on, or the other ones?
Both. To reach out to both and
see who comes.
See who wants to come on.
They didn't leave contact information.
And I would just like to.
Oh, can we view their? I'm not a robot.
And I would just like to ask them my questions. Pretty simple. What's on the other side of the Earth? If the Earth is flat,
Yeah.
cool. What's beyond the ice wall? What's keeping in everything?
So we could definitely revisit the
And
topic.
who benefits from everyone covering this up?
All right, let me book this.
This is great. I can't wait for this shit.
What do you mean?
We got an almost believer. We're gonna talk to believers. And
What do you mean
got,
an almost believer?
You almost believe the Earth.
Get outta here.
You almost, dude. You almost believed it.
I keep an open mind.
No,
with
so
anything.
that's a you almost.
All right, so
believe.
we have the Flat Earth podcast. I'll reach out to them. The
Hell.
Glowbusters.
I would just like a Glowbusters T-shirt because that logo is fucking sweet.
All right, so if people stopped you and asked, you had a Glowbusters T-shirt on. you'd be
Yep.
like, are you a Flat Earther?
I would say hell no. I just like the shirt.
We could see if they'll send us a shirt. But I'll reach out to both of them. I'll put it on my.
So
my thing
your
to do.
your final conclusion. What do you think?
Conclusion.
Yeah,
told you, man.
you're a believer.
I'm not a believer, but I understand why people believe in this.
I don't.
I mean, it's fun.
it's fun. It's fun to believe in conspiracy.
Any conspiracy is fun, right? Like
Yes.
Bigfoot's fun. Like I like
Yes.
that. Ghosts are fun.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of stuff we can't prove. Like I can't prove any of this stuff. I'm not here to convince you.
I'm not here to convince
I'm
you
not
either.
convincing like the Globebusters or the Flat Earth podcast or anybody that's believes in the flat Earth.
No, yeah.
I could just put evidence forth and what I read and what I see. That's
Sure.
it. At the end of the day, do I believe this? No, because this is too big of a conspiracy.
Yep.
Like we could sit down and write out questions if we're really gonna visit Flat Earth Part 2.
Yes, I would like to talk to these guys.
Flat Earth Part 2, brought to you by Forging Elite Athletes under 25.
I don't even know what that means, but I think the final conclusion is it's
It's just,
you're a believer. I'm not.
what are you talking about?
And
I'm gonna I would wear the Flat Earth Podcast T-shirt.
why?
I think it'd be funny.
So
Look
Matt's a
do you like
believer
my
in
T-shirt
flat Earth.
today?
Yeah, I
on
do
today's
like.
episode.
I do like it today.
This is
Let me turn to the camera.
This is a mashup up between Michael Myers, Freddy,
Keep going.
Jason. Keep turning.
Yeah, right there. Good.
Yeah, look at
Oh.
it.
Yeah.
Terror Threads. You like this tee? I got it from Terror Threads.
So we'll reach out to those guys, see if they want to come on and just talk about like the questions that I have.
Yeah, we need a guest. I would like to put a guest on the board.
And yeah, for right now, I think Matt's on the fence, a believer maybe.
I'm a believer. I love Flat Earth.
And no, I'm a glober.
You're a Glover?
Yeah, I guess that's the term now that we're using.
Why don't you wear, what's his face? Round Earth Shell. You're a Round Earth Shell, dude.
Jesus Christ.
They can't get that T-shirt. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just too big of a conspiracy to say yes, Flat Earth is real. Like they're hiding something. Like if they want to base their argument on that,
Matt's a believer.
yeah, whatever. Do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, we're gonna link those up into the show notes about the recommendations that they can find.
Yeah, what do you have recommendations for?
We went over this before the show.
Yeah, but people didn't hear us. We were talking about that in private. That
We
wasn't
were
part of the-
almost. I think we were on when that was going on.
So we have one thing I thought was a good video.
I
This
thought
guy
it was a great video.
debunks.
Debunks it.
It's 5 Flat Earth arguments debunked, and you can find it. That's the first.
Yeah, we're
recommendation.
gonna link all those up into the show notes.
And then another one, dude. I found this cool magazine, World Explorer.
World Explorer.
It has Bigfoot in it, and then Mothman.
Of course,
Mothman in Chicago.
Of course, it fucking does.
I love Bigfoot. Look it. So there you go. I'm linking that up. So check those 2 things out. That's what I recommend. Greg doesn't like to do recommendations.
Not really. No.
I recommend that.
I
recommend you check out Globebusters.
I'll fucking call him right now.
Are you gonna watch a video tonight?
No.
That's my recommendation to you.
No.
Yeah, you gotta
there's
watch
2
that.
hours long. I'm not gonna sit there and
All right, just watch 5 minutes of it.
Glowbusters. No, I'd really like to get them on.
I wanna play one of their things.
Who are you
But
gonna
we'll
call?
do it. I just want to hear what it sounds like. Well, I'm
Jesus
saving this for when we get off the air and we can play it.
All right.
So we'll do that. So
Thank you guys for tuning in.
whoa.
What?
I didn't even cue the music, bro.
Yeah, but you
All
do
right.
that. Until next time, stay spooky.
Is that what I sound like?
Sometimes.
All right. Yeah. Say it.
Say what?
You want to send us off? Send us off.
What?
Thanks everybody for tuning in to today's episode.
Of the Nightmare 365 podcast.
Yeah. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and Patreon. Right?
Why do you get those infomercials sent? Like when you do like the outros or even the case files, you're welcome to Case File.
Case File 3.
You're like that movie phone guy.
I always loved.
Welcome to the Hazlitt Multiplex Cinema.
I always loved.
Showing at
Do you remember calling that
5:30
shit?
p.m.
Do you remember calling? I used to
Yes.
love calling that.
Why?
I don't know. It was such a thrill. Most people probably don't know what we're talking about.
It's like, all right, yeah. People ever watch Seinfeld out there, right? Kramer, like,
Yeah, but
His phone.
the whole thing though. like,
welcome to movie phone.
back in the day when we were kids, you couldn't go online to look at movie times.
Now you had to call up and
So
it was
you-
an automated
Yeah, you
thing.
have to call up. Tonight's movie, Jurassic Park.
1 hour
PG-13.
in 35 minutes. Playing in Theater 5 and Theater 13. Showing at 6:40 p.m., 7:20 p.m. And it was, dude, it would go on and on.
It would.
But you would sound like that. You sound
sound like that?
You sound like that every time we do the outro of the case.
All
You're-
right, I won't
you're
sound like that. I'll be
welcome
more natural.
to the Nightmare 365
What's
showing
up,
at-"
everybody?
Yeah, see, that's
Yeah.
gay.
So all right, fine. I won't do it anymore. And I don't think you could use that term anymore, bro.
What?
You know. But check out our YouTube channel, our Patreon page.
That's all.
That's clipping in someone's ear. Thanks a lot, dude.
Sorry.
No, just visit our website, nightmare365.com.
Yeah, visit our YouTube page. Also our Instagram, Facebook page. If you have any questions, guys, leave them on the comment section on our YouTube page.
Oh, look at you, dude.
Yeah, man.
Nice. And next week.
Next week.
And next week we are talking about. Should it be a surprise?
It's a surprise.
So it's a surprise. Tune in next week. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a cool one. So until we speak again, everybody.
Stay spooky.